South China Morning Post, 5th of December 2022, how abrasive China and the Philippines might resolve their fight over resources in the South China Sea and stay out of harm's way. China has been robbing the Philippines of its islands, wrecking its fishing vessels, and intimidating its navy and fishermen in the seas surrounding the Philippines. The South China Sea dispute between China and the Philippines may be nearing its turning point. According to reports, the administration of Philippine President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. may approve Forum Energy's request to continue oil prospecting on the Reed Bank. The business has requested protection from Chinese retaliation from the authorities. If offered, it might result in a military conflict involving the United States, a military ally of the Philippines. Negotiating a temporary cooperative arrangement of a practical kind that satisfies both parties is one strategy to prevent such a clash. The majority of the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone is covered by China's 9-line claim. Included is the Reed Bank, which is thought to have substantial gas resources. The two nations signed a memorandum of understanding to negotiate arrangements on a rapid basis to promote oil and gas exploration and exploitation in key marine areas when President Xi Jinping visited Manila in 2018. However, negotiations were called off at the end of Rodrigo Duterte's administration because, in the words of Teodoro Locsin, the foreign minister at the time, "We got as far as it is constitutionally possible to go." In other words, the Duterte administration believed that China wanted terms against the Philippine constitution. There are still significant political and legal barriers. What are they, and how can you get rid of them? Both nations have good reasons to be open to a cooperative solution in addition to wishing to prevent further confrontation. The Malampaya gas field, the Philippines' primary domestic gas source for electricity, must be replaced because it may soon exhaust its reserves. Given China's adamant opposition, it has been hesitant to go forward on the Reed Bank unilaterally. China is eager to reach a joint agreement to improve its ties with the Philippines. Additionally, it would act as a model and precedent for temporarily resolving its conflicts with other parties in the South China Sea, including Brunei, Malaysia, and Vietnam. In January, when Marcos visits China, there will likely be additional discussions on principles. The devil, however, is in the details. Politically successful cooperative arrangements typically occur when both governments acknowledge that the other has a basis for their claim. That is not the case in this instance. China's 9-line claim is unlawful, according to the Philippines and the rest of the globe, according to a 2016 decision by the Permanent Court of Arbitration. However, the people of China have been brainwashed and misled into thinking that the region has been a part of the nation since time immemorial. Therefore, the communist leadership of China is unable to reject its claim or accept that of another state formally. Article 12 of the Philippines Constitution from 1987 stipulates that the discovery, development, and exploitation of natural resources must be under the full authority and supervision of the state, which places the country under special restrictions. The state may either carry out these operations directly or enter into co-production, joint venture, or production sharing agreements with Filipino citizens or businesses or organizations in which they possess at least 60% of the capital. Accepting this criterion would imply acknowledging the Philippines' jurisdiction, but China does not wish to do so. China prefers an equal division of costs, equity, and profits without the involvement of a third party, while the Philippines lacks the financial resources to fund 50% of the operation. China has more space maneuvering. It is unclear whether the 9-line claim applies to the entire region inside it, just the geographical elements existing there or the resources there. Beijing may be willing to compromise in favor of Manila if it results in significant soft power gains and collateral revenues. Nationalists might make this argument. According to China's leaders, The ratio symbolizes its generosity in exchange for the Philippines' tacit admission that there is a conflict. As a result, China's inheritance has been acknowledged and safeguarded. The Philippine Constitution stipulates that the Philippines must be in charge and that national laws must be upheld. Marcos stated on Thursday that if government-to-government negotiations go through, the Philippines could find alternative avenues to move on with joint exploration. Nevertheless, the region's distinct legal, contractual, and tax law should ease worries. It's also conceivable that the Philippine Department of Justice will grant the project a constitutional exception as it did for renewable energy projects. Neither state could legitimately relinquish their claim if there were a strong without prejudice clause. Their agreement might be a business partnership that includes splitting the resources or money made from their extraction but has no bearing on sovereignty. Chinese businesses with cutting-edge technology have a lot of money to make by offering goods, services, insurance, and other things. According to the Philippines Department of Energy, the 60-40 rule only applies to the final profit after deducting costs. Thus, the states might agree on how to define earnings. China still violates all of its agreements when it wants to, posing political concerns for the Philippines. It would be prohibited to share resources that Manila has insisted it owns outright with China. A cooperative agreement, however, has numerous noteworthy potential benefits for both states, but primarily for China. Most crucial, it might prevent a collision. Exploiting whatever resources are present in the contested territory would benefit both parties. Even the slightest chance of such an accord reducing tensions. Wording that is agreeable to both governments can be developed with the aid of experts in such cooperative development projects. Such professionals can assist them in finding a solution if there is political will, but China cannot be trusted. However, to do so, all parties would have to consent to an interim political solution that was not entirely lawful.